Hey people, how's it going? Welcome to the Funhouse. Thank you for joining me again for another movie reaction commentary. This time we're going to be jumping into the sequel for our previous video, Another 48 Hours. So we're just going to be jumping right into it this time, seeing as the principal filmmaking team is pretty much the same. I will say though, this is Eddie Murphy at the height of his fame. So like Beverly Hills Cop 2, his screen presence and energy completely obliterates the movie starometer, and this film is always a treat. Hope you enjoy watching along with me as we get into another 48 hours. Hey people, thank you for joining me again with another Eddie Murphy, as far as I'm concerned, classic, Another 48 Hours. We see the team up between Eddie Murphy, Walter Hill, and Nick Nolte again. Apparently this opening was inspired by Once Upon a Time in the West. As you learn about Hollywood films, you'll see that there's always a connection. You know, people always work together over and over. Nothing wrong with that, it's just the way it is. But yeah, I started to see that very early on.
You're gonna like this job.
He was in my brother's gang. First he dropped a dime on him. Then he ratted him to the cop that blew him away.
So again, with this film, everything is bigger. I love that about this film. And I love the old school gunfire. Listen to that.
Who you calling, friend?
Nobody. I wasn't calling nobody.
And I love that Tony Scott style effect.
I don't believe you.
So we were just introduced to the main villains of the film, and that is quite the setup. These guys don't play. Malcolm Price, Bill Hickox, and Cherry Gans, savages. Here we have. I always love this intro of Nick Nolte. It's so cool.
Freeze! I don't want anybody to get hurt here.
So this black guy, I never forgot him from this film, and we'll get to that in a minute. This is great. Look at this. That says everything about the character right there. He just shoves him aside like he's nothing. Brent Jennings, the black guy, veteran actor. He's done a ton of stuff. And he collaborated again with Walter Hill in Red Heat.
Check the guy's locker. Seems okay. He works here at the track.
Brian James and Edo Ross. So they're the two cops who just went to Jack.
Internal affairs. Seems like I'm always running into you, Jack.
I saw an exchange. I moved in. He had a piece. He shot. I shot back.
Cruz, what do you got?
Just some burnt metal. Must be off the pump.
Keyhole, I want the lab boys to go over every inch of this place. If there's a gun here, I want it. A bullet.
So this is Kevin Teague. The most prominent things that I could see with him, a film called K9 and Roadhouse with Patrick Swayze. So Brian James, he had a bit of a problem with this film. There's 50 minutes cut out of this film, and it was a lot to do with his character and his subtleties. And he saw it, and he felt so bad the way it turned out. He said that was the last time he took a film seriously. Here we have Eddie Murphy.
You made me miss, Cop.
I'm good, Reggie.
I ain't seen you in years, man. I thought you was my friend.
Well, I'm sorry. I've been busy.
And me too.
I think this was 8 years after the first one. And you can see Nick Nolte's a little bit bigger, but that's because he just did a film because it was called Q&A, and he put on a bit of weight for it. So by the time he came around to shoot this, he hadn't taken off much of the weight. But you can see with Eddie Murphy as well, his face is a little rounder. So this was 1990. I mean, this is the height of Eddie Murphy's fame. He was huge. You can see his energy is different from the first one. He's still funny in the first one, but here his delivery, his voice, the pitch of his voice is higher, it's faster, his delivery is faster. So he's really built up his confidence, really displaying that movie star status.
Just get me the hell out of here, man.
Yeah, come on.
Man, you ain't got to slam my shit down like that. Everybody trying to keep me and James in prison.
I think that's a reference to James Brown. He got charged with assault because he beat up his wife or girlfriend at the time or something. Look at these low angles, man. I love this one. Look at that framing. I like that. So I love showmanship sometimes in filmmaking. This is good showmanship. So the cinematographer for this film, he went on to do stuff like Commando, Action Jackson. He worked with Walter Hill again on Red Heat, Rush Hour 2, Too Fast, Too Furious. So he's done a lot of stuff. He worked with Keenan Ivory Wayans on a film called A Low Down Dirty Shame as well. I've seen that. Yeah, it's one of those. That was one of those straight to video. Well, as in this country we got it like that. It's kind of like Action Jackson. I remember the feel of it. It's about a slick, cool black dude. You know, he was a private detective in it. Here's another little example of how ruthless these guys are. So Andrew Divoff, the guy who he's playing Cherry Gans. The most prominent thing I could see that he went on to do was Call of Duty Black Ops, actually. Call of Duty Black Ops. He did 2 of them.
You sure you never saw those bikers before?
Look, man, all you rednecks look the same to me. Oh, great. I got to spend my first day out with Art the goddamn redneck.
Art the goddamn redneck.
Hey, Reggie, you want to go for a ride in a Cadillac?
Look, just do me a favor, Jack, and just disappear. Stay away from me, all right?
They released you in my custody.
So here we go, the blue Cadillac, which I believe that's a trait in Walter Hill films. He always has a blue Cadillac in there.
Just because I'm a convict, everything that comes out of my mouth is a goddamn lie?
That's right.
What's wrong, your arm hurt?
Yeah, thanks to your friends.
Hurt bad?
Yeah.
Good.
So I also found out that the reason why they cut the film down so much is because Total Recall had come out, and Total Recall was like #1 at the time. And so the original film, like I said, was 140 minutes. So the studio was like, we don't want that. And the thing is, they changed it. They decided to cut it down 1 week before release because they wanted to compete with Total Recall. Now, cinemas hate that. Well, they don't hate, but they don't like films to be more than an hour and a half because they have less showings. So 1.5 hours is good enough, especially back then. They even cut, if you remember the big black dude from the first one, the chief, he was actually in this, but he's cut out of it.
Yo, Marvin. Hey, what's
I love this one.
Hammond? Reggie Hammond. Yeah. How you doing, man? What?
You're born again Christian.
Christian? Get the fuck out of here. No, I just can't picture you, being no born again Christian. I was there when you beat the bitch up. Jesus, everybody can find Jesus. No, I love that. Jesus. Hello, Mom. Hey, Willie Biggs, Reggie Hammond. Hello.
Right, so Willie Biggs, that's a nice little reference there. Willie Biggs was the original name for Eddie Murphy's character, and it was Eddie Murphy who said, that's a bit stereotypical Hollywood black man. So he was like, nah, call him Reggie. Or I think it was Hammond, and then someone else suggested another name, Reggie.
Me and Gans robbed somebody for $500,000 a couple of years back. That was the Iceman. Get in the car. I'm driving.
I was one chauffeur, Reggie.
Look at this lens here they're using. They get right up on it. I just like it. I don't think I would use it. I don't know if I would shoot like that or use the lens like that. I just like it. Yeah, so this film was like, it basically follows the same beats as the original. Same thing with Beverly Hills Cop 2. It's the same beats, but just amped up. I think if it's done well like this, I don't have a problem with it. So there are moments when Eddie Murphy is in control of the situation. In real life, it had changed. So in the first one, Nick Nolte got the top billing, and he got paid more than Eddie Murphy. I can't remember the figures now. But then in this one, I know that Eddie Murphy got paid $7 million. Nick Nolte got paid a couple million, but Eddie Murphy got top billing.
Yeah, it's me. But hey, man, I warned you about dealing with these crazy ass crackers. You know, man, these cats are taking all of the fun out of my work.
His delivery is unbelievable.
Must have been a real good lead, Jack. Somebody shot him 16 times.
Jack, the Iceman's a cop. The man had no choice. Your girl ratted him out to the cop. You know, you two should be a little bit more careful about who you hang out with. That's the way the man does business. Business. You know, you two fucking hillbillies should learn the difference.
Love that delivery.
Yeah. We're gonna get Hammond, and we're gonna get the cop, and the Iceman.
You just stick to Hammond, Joe Bob.
You may see me use that shot at some point in one of my films. This is Tisha Campbell, and this is not the only time her and Eddie Murphy collaborated. She's actually in the film Boomerang. Wow. There you go.
500 G's, right?
Thought you said the Iceman was gonna bring you your money. That guy ain't the Iceman.
You're just trying to save your ass, Reg.
You got the wrong guy.
We could take them all. Hammond, the pig, the Iceman, the whole bottle.
Oh, listen to the gunfire, man.
Get the fuck out of here.
And if you're watching Commando, you might think, oh, well, this sounds like that. Yep, same composer. And he actually used elements from the original 48 Hours, the steel drums, and he used it in Commando as well. So that's why the soundtrack sounds a bit similar, or the score sounds a bit similar. Gans, he just pushed her away, man. Listen to the, oh my god. Listen to how he dies. That's cool as well. I've never seen a gun shot that way before. Usually you aim and shoot. He just swept his arm. Swept his arm in one direction. Now this moment, I'll always remember this moment because click, and then Eddie Murphy does this. That moment got a huge cheer in the cinema. Oh, look at that. Great stuff. And just like the first film, he's got this sort of dispassionate look on his face. Cold stare.
You're a disgrace, Ben.
Zero stare.
Thank you for a very pleasant day. I got no money, and I'm gonna fucking end the day off with this goddamn dope man's Uzi by my temple. Jack, why don't you shoot me? Shoot me, Jack!
Wow. He's like, huh? Woo!
You did good, Reggie. You did real good.
So this film was actually written by, the credit was shared between John Fasano and Jeb Stewart. Now, the most prominent thing that John Fasano went on to do was Universal Soldier: The Return. That's the main thing that I looked at and I said, okay, I know that. And Jeb Stewart went on to do Fugitive, Lock Up, Die Hard actually. But in all of those, he shared the credit. He didn't get sole credit. And here's the classic song from the original film, which wasn't on the original soundtrack when it was released, because back in the day they used to release the music of films as albums. There's a big focus on that. You can still do it, but there was a big focus on it. But this song was left off of that, and it became the staple tagline of the blurbs on TV. The boys are back in town. And there you have it, another 48 Hours. Look at those lights and so it's the same thing in Streets of Fire. The tarmac was always slick and wet, and there was neon everywhere. Fugitive was actually the first film I saw in the cinema in the UK. That was the first film I ever saw in this country, and I went to see it with a friend of mine from school. I just usually watch stuff on TV or rent the VHS or something. Okay, people, and that was another 48 Hours. Hope you had fun watching along with me, and stay tuned for more movie reaction commentary videos. As usual, let me know your thoughts about this film in the comment section, and feel free to drop any knowledge or insights you may have about this film. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.